At number 10, we have Selena Gomez, whose back then bestie Taylor Swift seemed to confirm Selena's previous on-again, off-again boyfriend, Justin Bieber, had cheated on her following fan speculation. There had been endless rumors of Justin being unfaithful back then between 2011 to 2014, but he and Selena continued to reconcile and break up for years after, each time while fans assumed they were officially done. Right before Justin tied the knot with his childhood friend and current wife Hailey Baldwin in 2018, rumors of Selena and Justin's relationship resurfaced. But by 2019, Taylor had basically stepped in to save her best friend. At the time, Taylor was fresh off her back and forth feud with singer Katy Perry and seemed to be on a path of airing it all out via Tumblr one weekend. On it, she details her issues with record executive Scooter Braun and naturally with Kanye West and Justin Bieber. This of course is where things get a bit messy. Even Suicide Squad actress Cara Delevingne ended up getting involved at one point. Still, it was inevitable that Taylor's own fans found themselves right in the middle of the mess over multiple social sites. However, one fan in particular responded to Justin's "we haven't gotten to communicate our differences" comment, which was alluding to the rumors surrounding him cheating on Selena, as well as some of Taylor's issues with Kanye, through a comment that stated, "You cheated on her best friend and then publicly sided with the man who made revenge a gangster. Was she supposed to invite you over for tea? F outta here." Where the quote confirmation came from was Taylor liking the post, which obviously led a majority of the internet to believe Taylor confirmed the Jelena rumors. At number 9, we have Beyonce, who remained loyally devoted to her still husband Jay-Z after he confirmed having cheated on her. Naturally, the world was shocked to see Hollywood's favorite couple going into shambles, especially after Beyonce's sister, Solange Knowles, was seen attacking Jay-Z in an elevator. In light of the incident though, mass speculation spread that Solange was merely playing tit for tat because of the rumors stimulating from Jay-Z cheating on her sister. Both stars eventually hinted at said gossip through their music, with Beyonce releasing Lemonade and Jay-Z dropping 444. But before this, Jay-Z gave us the direct scoop for the very first time publicly during a New York Times styled magazine interview where he discussed his life back then. Beyonce and Jay-Z also had prior plans to release a collaborative album in light of everything as they were creating music together, but ended up deciding to go with their solo projects. Jay-Z did admit that therapy helped him deal with his past issues and prevented what looked to be their incoming divorce at the time. However, nowadays the rapper-singer twosome have since renewed their vows and appear to be much more content with their current life. At number 8, we have Gabrielle Union and former fiancé Dwayne Wade. The two engaged back in 2013 but briefly separated during the time when Dwayne had conceived a baby boy with Aja Matoyer. The announcement for Dwayne's new bundle of joy was released worldwide less than a week following Dwayne's engagement announcement with Gabrielle. Despite this, Dwayne has referred to his child as a blessing. Oppositely, Gabrielle received infinite hardships from the strain in the relationship, which started off in 2008. Fast forwarding to 2021, Gabrielle talked about their issues in more detail, urging others to be careful when seeking advice from people who have not successfully healed from their own traumas and are trying to help someone else. Regardless, the couple managed to work through their heavy stress and have seemingly become happier in their current marriage of a little under 8 years. They share a younger daughter named Kavya James. At number 7, we have leading Twilight stars Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson. Back when Robert became romantically involved with Kristen, who played his on-screen lover in the romantic action vampire franchise, fans were elated with the discovery of them dating. As private as the two attempted to remain about the relationship, fans were practically obsessed with their fairy tale type of romance. However, fans were soon extremely crushed to find out that Kristen had cheated on Robert with her Snow White and the Huntsman director, Rupert Sanders, a film which included Rupert's then wife, Liberty Ross. Despite the fact that it was revealed the two never slept together, Kristen still gave a public apology to Robert, who forgave her even though they broke it off less than a year later. Robert referred to their relationship as something that was normal in young people, and it never really recovered after that. However, in the years since her affair, Kristen detailed how she managed to get caught up in the scandal, explaining that the cheating was merely a kiss shared between her and Rupert. And even though the stars have been separated for nearly a decade now, Kristen revealed she would have been content marrying Robert if they had gotten to that point. Still, Kristen did acknowledge how the intense pressure around them as young public figures also played a part. In conclusion, the Twilight leads split, and so did Rupert and his wife. Despite Kristen understanding how their scandal was the nail in the coffin of her former relationship, she didn't forget to inform us how the media storm surrounding her relationship with Pattinson made her a stronger person. At number 6, we have rapping duo Cardi B and Offset, who for starters are indeed still together and married to this day. However, there were quite a few instances in their timeline when things are looking a little blurry, and at one point the couple was certainly headed for divorce, amid chatter that Offset was unfaithful throughout the entirety of their relationship. Reports of infidelity on Offset's half have been floating around from the very start, but most notably, images of Offset being unfaithful to Cardi were once leaked off his iCloud by hackers. However, Cardi has insisted on her desire to keep their marriage afloat and work through their issues, stating that she has no reason to explain their situation, which, quote, happens to everyone, to anybody who asks this of her. Yet the two did have a momentary separation in December 2018. Cardi even went as far as filing for divorce of Offset's alleged endless infidelity, who had a previous bad rep for being a womanizer. Offset has denied the gossip time and time again, but multiple women have reportedly stepped forward to inform the female rapper, which again led to their eventual temporary divorce. According to a source from E!, Cardi did attempt to forgive and put her trust back into Offset in 2017, but it seemingly backfired on her as she was later plagued with embarrassment and only attempted to move on at first for their child. After deeming her situation as enough is enough, the narrative that Cardi dumped Offset for good is no longer viable due to the fact that they are still currently together and seem to be doing much better. At number 5, we have Vanessa Bryant and her late former husband of 20 years, basketballer Kobe Bryant. Kobe had previously admitted to his affairs in 2003 while he was facing essay allegations from a Colorado woman. It seemed he was on the brink of also losing Vanessa along the way, as at one point he was sure she would be done with him. Instead, Vanessa stuck it out with Kobe through the publicly scandalous issue. Things seemed great for them until 2011 when another woman claimed she engaged in an affair with the former sports star. However, after Vanessa promptly filed for divorce, the ordeal was dropped and they reconciled in 2013. Kobe was captured all over the country with a variety of women who were not his wife when Vanessa reportedly hired an army of private investigators to figure out what was going on. And it was said that the PIs gathered quite the incriminating evidence against him. A close insider to Vanessa once described Vanessa's overall emotions over the situation, where they referred to Kobe as out of control due to his various affairs over the course of their marriage. Apparently, whenever Kobe was caught red-handed in the past, he would smooch his wife with expensive gifts ranging from cars to jewelry. However, as the source once said, each time he promised to reform and each time he broke his promise. At number 4, we have basketball player Nick Young, who revealed he cheated on his former fiancée and musical artist Iggy Azalea through a previously leaked secret video. At the time, the two braved the storm by attempting to work things out as they remained engaged, but surely enough, Nick showed that he was not willing to change much. In the words of Iggy, she detailed, "I broke up with Nick because I found out he had brought other women into our home while I was away and caught them on security footage." According to reports, Iggy actually received her payback by burning all his things in a bonfire. Big yikes. In the midst of their separation, Iggy also addressed the gossip that stated she left Nick because he had another child with the mother of his young son. But Iggy admitted that she didn't even know about that until it was revealed in E! News. At number 3, we have reality star Khloe Kardashian and her previous partner Scott Disick. Now, Scott has been surrounded by rumors of him cheating on Kourtney throughout the duration of their Keeping Up with the Kardashian filming. Despite the fact that the two former partners share 3 children together, Scott was reportedly unable to remain a faithful lover to Kourtney. Apparently, Kourtney had discovered evidence of unfaithfulness on Scott's part multiple times, and yet the two remained on and off for a whopping 9 years before calling it quits for good in 2015. Surely it's not much of a surprise here that the Kardashian crew was not a fan of Scott by any means. They thought he had a horrible attitude and needed to tend to his previous alcohol use. The blend of issues often led to altercations stemming from Scott's behavior, who has admitted in the past that he struggled with alcohol basically up until they split. However, nowadays Kourtney and Scott have both moved on in the love department and are doing a great job at co-parenting, possibly even more so than when they were actually together. At number 2, we have the Osbourne duo known as Sharon and Ozzy respectively. As one of the biggest rock stars of not just his time, but all time, I think it was just to mostly Sharon's surprise when she found out that Ozzy was unfaithful a lot. By that point, Sharon was seemingly done with Ozzy, but around the next year and in light of their 40-year history, they ended up coming back to one another again and have been married ever since. It's unclear whether she decided to drop everything and forgive him at the time or now, but Sharon has expressed her understanding of how many men would also find it hard to remain faithful if they spent the day in Ozzy's world. Still, this doesn't mean Ozzy is proud of his past by any means. During a British GQ sit-down, the legendary rocker admitted that one of his biggest life regrets was having cheated on his wife. Quote, "I've done some pretty outrageous things in my life. I regret cheating on my wife. I don't do it anymore. I got my reality check and I'm lucky she didn't leave me. me. I was pissed off with myself, but I broke her heart. Ozzy and Sharon married back in 1982 and shared 3 children named Amy, Kelly, and Jack. At number 1, we have an unfortunate 2-for-1, and with athletes no less. Simply put, no one deserves to be cheated on, especially not more than once. However, this exact thing happened to Khloe and her past 2 relationships with basketball stars Lamar Odom and Tristan Thompson. It seems her luck with faithful men has yet to come, and it almost feels like Khloe's had some weird curse on her love life ever since her marriage to Lamar in 2009. For Lamar's situation, they divorced and then rekindled the romance, even with Khloe's revelation of Lamar cheating. They officially called it quits since, but he wouldn't be the first nor last dude Khloe was also reportedly involved with who allegedly cheated on her. With Tristan, he and Khloe were forced apart by unfaithfulness as well, while Khloe was pregnant with his child nonetheless, but they remained together for a while afterwards despite this. Khloe and Tristan officially separated when rumors of Tristan cheating with Khloe's half-sister Kylie's former bestie Jordyn Woods in February 2019. Khloe dumped him in light of the news.
Number 10. Justin Timberlake and Elisha Wainwright. Justin Timberlake and Elisha Wainwright made headlines when they were spotted holding hands during a night out in New Orleans. The 2 actors were shooting the movie Palmer, which is a drama about an ex-college football star who returns home after being in prison. The co-stars were photographed together getting cozy at a bar in Louisiana, sitting at a table holding hands and talking to one another. The photos showed Justin, who didn't appear to be wearing his wedding ring, holding hands with the actress under a table and drinking together. At one point, Elisha could be seen resting her hand on the singer's knee, and while he was standing up, putting his arm around her waist. The photos caused a huge scandal because he's been married to Jessica Biel since 2012. Their relationship was really being tested, and Justin had to make a public statement the following month, apologizing for his strong lapse in judgment, and claimed that despite the photos, nothing happened between him and his co-star. Number 9. LeAnn Rimes and Eddie Cibrian. This affair was not exactly unique. In fact, it's a story so common in Hollywood that it borders on cliched. The actors were co-stars who met on the set of a Lifetime movie called Northern Lights. They immediately hit it off and the flirting began. But the kicker was that they were both already married at the time to other people. But hey, in classic Hollywood fashion, they didn't let that stop them, and not long after meeting, they were photographed having dinner together, and the rumor mill did the rest. After extreme press coverage of the affair, both LeAnn and Eddie decided to make it official and separated from their respective spouses to be with each other. They eventually ended up tying the knot in 2011, but the story doesn't entirely end there. A few years later, Eddie was caught cheating on LeAnn at Wendy Williams' 50th birthday party, but she claims she's unfazed by the whole thing and doesn't seem to mind if he flirts with other women. You know what they say, sometimes how you get them is how you lose them too. Number 8. Helena Bonham Carter and Kenneth Branagh. The 2 are believed to have begun their secret relationship on the set of the film Frankenstein in 1994, which Kenneth played the lead role and Helena played Frankenstein's adopted sister, Elizabeth. At the time, he had been married to Emma Thompson for 8 years, who was adored by fans. The 2 were even dubbed the golden couple by the British press, and seemingly had the perfect marriage, which is why the affair caused a massive scandal that rocked tabloids across the nation. They split in 1995, and years later, Emma has admitted that her tearful scenes in Love Actually were so persuasive because she had had her heart broken very badly by Kenneth. It was a little awkward because both actresses had to work together in the Harry Potter films, with Helena playing Bellatrix and Emma playing Professor Trelawney. But in 2013, she revealed that the 2 had made their peace years ago, and that the divorce was all blood under the bridge. But Emma even joked that she and her Harry Potter co-star were both slightly mad and a little bit fashion challenged, and she said, quote, "Perhaps that's why Ken loved us both." Number 7. Abbie Cornish and Ryan Phillippe. The actor first met Reese Witherspoon while starring alongside her in the 1999 movie Cruel Intentions. They actually fell so in love with each other that they ended up getting married that same year. But all good things must come to an end, especially Hollywood romances, and in 2008, Ryan started to get closer to his new co-star, Australian actress Abbie Cornish, while they were filming the movie Stop Loss. The 2 of them seemed to be so comfortable being seen in public together that they were eventually caught having dinner together in a Texas restaurant, despite the fact that there were some curtains around the table. They were also caught together again just outside of Ryan's apartment. The affair was so in your face, it really wasn't funny. But it wasn't until Reese discovered intimate messages back and forth that were being exchanged between the 2 of them on his phone. Then it was clear that after 7 years of marriage and 2 children, Reese was ready to call it quits with Ryan, and later went on to marry talent agent Jim Toth. Whilst Ryan and and Abbie's love affair eventually lost its spark. Number 6. Kerry Russell and Matthew Rhys. The actors played secret KGB agents and love interests on the FX spy drama The Americans. The romance between the two sparked while on set, but there was just one problem. At the time, Kerry was still married to Shane Deary, with whom she had 2 kids. The two leads play like Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and so naturally, many believe their steamy scenes were indicative of a real-life romance. At the time though, they both heavily denied it. When talking about their sex scenes, Matthew said, quote, "We've all done a million of them in this crazy life we sign up for." He said that eventually the clinical element of it kicks in, which sort of takes away from that embarrassment. But it's obvious that there was really something going on, as the two of them were shopping for furniture together at Christmas in 2013. Not long after, Kerry parted ways with her now ex-husband. Unlike most cheating scandals though, this one seemed to turn out quite well, as Kerry, Matthew and Shane reportedly go on vacations together and frequently dine out as friends. Not only that, but in 2016, Kerry and Matthew welcomed their first child together and became a blended family. Number 5. Tori Spelling and Dean McDermott. The Beverly Hills 90210 star and her husband, Dean McDermott, have been making headlines since their scandalous start. The two actors met on the set of Lifetime's Mind Over Murder in 2005, only a year after Spelling married her first husband, Charlie Shanahan. Dean was also married at the time for more than a decade to Mary Jo Eustace, with whom he shares a son. Tori and Dean began cheating on their spouses the night they met. In fact, she wrote about the affair in her 2009 memoir, quote, "It was love at first sight. I fell so hard. Then I noticed he had a wedding ring. When someone asked, he pulled out photos of his children, and oh yeah, I had a husband too." Yeah, there's no making that sound better. She went on to say that the couple ended up spending the night together despite the fact that they were both married. And she knew it was meant to be because when she woke up next to Dean the following day, she said she had no regrets. The two married and went on to have 4 children together before yet another cheating scandal rocked their relationship in 2013, this time with Dean and the nanny. Number 4. Kate Hudson and Owen Wilson. The Hollywood stars had a massive cheating scandal while filming the 2006 comedy You, Me and Dupree, most likely because Kate was married to rock musician Chris Robinson for 6 years when she met Owen. The actors had a wild affair that lasted only 6 months, but it was definitely long enough to ruin Kate's relationship with her husband forever. Amid the rumors of infidelity, the Black Crowes singer ended up filing for divorce from Hudson in November 2006, citing irreconcilable differences and seeking joint custody of their then 2-year-old son Ryder. A month after the film opened in July, Kate and Owen were confirmed to be officially dating. But the affair didn't seem to stack up to anything, as the couple's relationship was short-lived, and they broke up less than a year later. As the public started to turn against the actress, she countered the speculation by telling Harper's Bazaar that's not what happened. But looking back at the 2006 press tour, it was pretty obvious that something was happening between them, because it got kind of inappropriate. Owen asked her about wearing a bikini in the film and whether she and her husband have ever had a third wheel experience. Number 3. Humphrey Bogart and Morena Baccarin. Many Hollywood romances have started on screen and bled into the real lives of the actors involved. The most iconic has to be that of Humphrey Bogart and Morena Baccarin. The two engaged in a scandalous affair after meeting on the set of To Have and Have Not back in 1944. Baccarin was only 19 when she first met Bogart, who was already an acclaimed Hollywood star and 25 years older than her. But that wasn't the only issue. At the time, Bogart was married to actress Mayo Methot, but their relationship was reportedly falling apart. Baccarin confessed in her 1978 memoir that there was no clap of thunder or lightning bolt moment when she first laid eyes on him in 1943, but the actors became close on the set when she was nervous about the production and turned to her co-star for support. Just 3 weeks into filming, the pair shared their first kiss in her dressing room after a day of filming, and he asked her for her phone number, which she famously scribbled on the back of a matchbook. After that, they began meeting in secret places and using their on-screen names to disguise their identities. Bogart eventually divorced his wife in 1945 and married Baccarin just 11 days later. Number 2. Sienna Miller and Daniel Craig. Scandal erupted in 2005 when Sienna Miller's confession of love to Daniel Craig was publicly broadcast to the world while she was still married to Jude Law. The two were co-stars in the 2005 2004 film Layer Cake with Sienna, and at some point the two got a little bit closer than they did on screen. But how did the news of the affair get out? Well, that's the tricky part. A journalist hacked Daniel's voicemail, retrieving a message that came from Sienna's phone number. Both parties tried to discredit the audio tape at first, but when the hearing took place for the hacking trial, it was proven to be authentic. Sienna tried to play it off and told the court that she always ended phone calls saying "I love you," insisting it wasn't some huge declaration of love. She denied that the message meant she was in a relationship with Daniel, but she did admit to the court that they were briefly involved. Jude reportedly learned of his wife's affair from the newspaper story and called Daniel to confront him because the two used to be close friends. Talk about messy. And coming in at number 1, Meg Ryan and Russell Crowe. In the 90s, Meg Ryan had a squeaky clean image thanks to her role as a leading lady in many rom-coms like When Harry Met Sally and Sleepless in Seattle. But her reputation took a huge hit when it emerged that she cheated on her then husband, Dennis Quaid, with her co-star Russell Crowe. Meg and Dennis had been married for 9 years and already shared a son together when she met Russell on the set of the 2000 thriller Proof of Life, and the pair had instant chemistry. But the affair reportedly caused awkwardness amongst the cast and crew, as the actress didn't even appear on the press tour because she was so worried that they would be asking her about it. In fact, the film's director, Taylor Hackford, blamed the cheating scandal for the film being a flop at the box office. Meg was publicly shamed, especially after she and Dennis officially announced their separation, because it allegedly put too much strain on their marriage. When she began dating her co-star, it really changed the public's perception of her as the quirky rom-com lead. In fact, she told The Guardian in 2003, quote, "I was all over the tabloids and I walked through the lobby and the place stopped. People stopped talking and stared at me." Goes to show you how sensational the affair was at the time. Number 10, Will Smith and Margot Robbie. In 2013, Star magazine published a bombshell allegation that Will Smith was caught cheating with his co-star Margot Robbie when they worked together on the movie Focus. The report actually claimed that in photo booth pictures that they found and published on their cover, Will appeared to be shirtless and Margot lifted up her own shirt to reveal her lingerie. The magazine also claimed that after they pulled the curtain back to take the pictures, they were getting very touchy-feely with each other in the dark. The scandal was massive at the time because Will is married to Jada Pinkett Smith, and back then they had yet to admit to having an open relationship. But the rumors soon died down as E! News revealed that the pictures were commissioned by a production and that the entire cast and crew saw them being taken. It also came out that Will and Margot are absolutely just friends and there was nothing else going on between them. Even Margot was quick to deny everything on Twitter, quote, "There's absolutely no truth to the ridiculous rumor. It's disappointing that goofing around on set could be taken so out of context." Well, people do tend to jump to conclusions. Number 9, Dominic West and Lily James. The actors were at the height of scandal when they were photographed getting cozy in Rome, all while filming their new series A Pursuit of Love in 2020. The pictures show the stars kissing, sitting at a cafe, standing on the Spanish steps, and riding tandem on a scooter, looking very much to be on a date. Although Lily was single at the time, Dominic has been married to Catherine Fitzgerald for 10 years, and they have 4 children together. A source told The Sun that when Catherine saw the pictures, she was devastated and tried to get a hold of her husband, but he wasn't answering his phone. She was reportedly shocked by the whole thing because she didn't realize anything was going on. But only a few days later, there was a photo taken out the front of the couple's home with a note saying, "Our marriage is strong and we're very much still together. Thank you." Since the incident, James has kept quiet and cancelled various interviews to promote her latest film Rebecca, which is probably a good decision considering the fact that both parties have not yet publicly talked about their affair since it occurred. Number 8, Chad Michael Murray and Paris Hilton. In 2003, Chad Michael Murray and Sophia Bush fell in love while filming the TV series One Tree Hill. 2 years later, they were married. However, they separated just 5 months later when rumors swirled that Chad had cheated on his wife with Paris Hilton, his co-star on the film House of Wax. During the time he and Paris both worked on the horror film together, they reportedly had an affair, according to Backstreet Boy Nick Carter, who was dating Paris at the time. But after separating, Chad and Sophia still had to keep working together for another 3 years on One Tree Hill. If that's not awkward, I don't know what is. It wasn't until 2011 that the actor decided to rethink the way in which he was living his whole life. Quote, "When you're young and you're thrown into something that I was definitely not ready for, I'm human and I screw up." But his ex-wife definitely took the whole affair much harder, and it's clear that his actions really affected her in the long term. In 2017, she wrote in Cosmo Cosmopolitan that the scandal was a massive event in her life and the trauma of it was amplified by how public it became. She has also said that she feels the marriage was a joke and it did nothing but reduce her to a Hollywood statistic. Ouch. Number 7. Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. Jen and Brad got married in 2000 in a lavish Malibu wedding, and things were perfect for the Hollywood it couple until they suddenly announced their divorce in 2005. What happened exactly? Well, long story short is Brad met Angelina for the first time on the set of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and the rest is history. Apparently the movie was filled with so much romantic tension, it was impossible for the two stars not to fall for each other. I mean, Mr. and Mrs. Smith is probably the sexiest spy movie to ever exist, so it's easy to see how everything went down. But the problem was that Brad was still married to Jen. But he didn't let that stop him, and they allegedly still got together despite his marriage. To add insult to injury, he said about his marriage to Jen, quote, "I was trying to pretend the marriage was something that it wasn't. I'm satisfied with making true choices and finding the woman I love, Angie, and building a family that I love so much." That sounds pretty harsh, but it turned out that Brad and Angelina's relationship wasn't just a fling, and they actually went on to date for many years and had a large family before finally getting married in 2014. The love triangle was one of the biggest celebrity scandals of the early 2000s, and it still dominates the tabloids to this day. Number 6. Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher. The actress and writer Carrie Fisher was never one to hold back when she had something to say, and in 2016 she shared a fascinating piece of history in her own memoir called The Princess Diarist. According to Carrie, she had a brief but very intense affair with her Star Wars co-star Harrison Ford while they were filming the movie in 1976. But what's really quite troubling is that People magazine reported that she was just 19 years old when the 3-month affair took place, while Harrison was 36 years old and married to his wife of 15 years, Mary Marquardt. To make matters worse, the couple also shared 2 kids together. In terms of sneaking around, Carrie actually said, quote, "It was Han and Leia during the week and Carrie and Harrison during the weekend." She also explained to The Guardian that the affair between them had eventually come down to unreciprocated love. She said that she'll always feel something for him. The Star Wars actress was so young at the time that they got together, and although she must have known it was wrong, it's hard to say that the blame rests completely on her. What's even sadder is that after Carrie died in 2016, Harrison never fully confessed to the affair, probably more out of shame for cheating on his wife. Number 5. Ewan McGregor and Mary Elizabeth Winstead. The co-stars brought their on-screen romance into the real world after working together on the FX series Fargo. The pair appeared on season 3 of the anthology crime drama, which debuted in April of 2017. Only a month later, the actress announced on social media that she had split from her husband of 7 years, Riley Stearns. Following her separation, Winstead was spotted on a date, hooking up with McGregor in London, and cheating rumors were flying because although she was single, he was very much not. The Trainspotting actor was still married to Eve Mavrakis at the time, with whom he shares 4 children. After the Emmy winner was spotted getting cozy with Winstead, fans began to wonder about the status of his marriage, but it wasn't until January of 2018 that his now ex-wife filed for divorce. But while the two managed to keep their romance relatively private, their relationship raised eyebrows even among their family members. In fact, in August of 2018, McGregor's daughter Clara had some strong feelings on the new relationship at the time. She took to Instagram to comment on a Mary Elizabeth Winstead fan page, quote, "Most beautiful and talented woman on earth? Oh man, y'all are delusional. This girl is a piece of trash." Wow. Number 4. Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman. Although it's been over for decades, Nicole Kidman's marriage to Tom Cruise is still one of Hollywood's most talked about relationships. Cruise met Nicole Kidman on the set of the movie Days of Thunder, and the pair were instantly smitten with one another, and they soon started engaging in a torrid love affair. But at the time of meeting, you guessed it, the Top Gun actor was still married to Mimi Rogers, whom he wed in 1987. As it became clear that the affair was more than just a simple fling, Tom divorced his first wife in February of 1990, and less than 1 year later, he exchanged vows with Nicole in December of 1990. They even adopted 2 children, Isabella Jane and Connor Anthony, and eventually went on to make 2 more movies together as a couple. But as we all know, their marriage was far from perfect, and they ended up splitting a decade later in 2001. Looking back on the divorce, Nicole said, quote, "It took me a very long time to heal. It was a shock to my system. We were in a bubble, just the 2 of us. We became very dependent on one another. Number 3. Billy Crudup and Claire Danes. The massive scandal started in late 2003. Billy and his girlfriend of 8 years, Mary Louise Parker, who at the time was about 7 months pregnant with his son, broke up. The New York Post reported that the actor had moved on with his stage beauty co-star Claire Danes, who was only 24 at the time. In the summer of that year, the former co-stars had been spotted getting cozy all over New York City, and even had a very cute looking courtside date filled with PDA. But Billy wasn't the only cheater in that situation, as Claire also ended up breaking the heart of her longtime boyfriend Ben Lee to be with the actor. Their love affair didn't last long, however, and it's clear that all the heartbreak wasn't even worth it, because they ended up splitting up just 3 years later. Naturally, the ultra-private couple didn't discuss the reason behind their breakup, but the tabloids were happy to do so for them. Several magazines even claimed that Danes had left Billy for Hugh Dancy, but we'll never really know what happened. Years later, Claire said, quote, "I was just in love with him and needed to explore that. I was 24, I didn't quite know what those consequences would be." Number 2. Morena Baccarin and Ben McKenzie. The Homeland actress furiously denied rumors that she had been cheating on her husband at the time, Austin Chick. But when she got pregnant by her Gotham co-star Ben McKenzie, there was very little she could do to cover it up. And just like that, the cheating rumors were confirmed. Although the actress tried to shut down the allegations, according to a TMZ report, the divorce papers filed in 2015 by Austin show that he claimed that he was still sharing a bed with Morena when she conceived Mackenzie's baby. She did get a happy ending though, and eventually gave birth to Mackenzie's daughter Frances in March of 2016, just 2 weeks before her divorce from Austin was finalized, and went on to marry Mackenzie in June the following year. But did she at least feel a little bad for sleeping with her co-star while she was married? Well, not really. In fact, she told People magazine that working with him on Gotham was wonderful. Quote, "Ben's the sweetest. It's very nice to work with your significant other, especially when you're pregnant, because you know you'll get some extra TLC and get taken care of." I mean, yeah, I guess that sounds nice if you can ignore the question of how they met. Number 1. John Malkovich and Michelle Pfeiffer. The legendary actor John Malkovich caused intense scandal both on and off the screen when it came to filming 1998's Dangerous Liaisons with his co-star Michelle Pfeiffer. At the time, the actor had been married to actress Glenn Headley for 6 years, but that completely fell apart in the midst of his affair with Michelle. Interestingly enough, even the film's director, Stephen Frears, said, quote, "Dangerous Liaisons is about betrayal and lies and relationships unraveling. It was one of those times where reality and art intersect. It was overwhelming to John. Even for a man who delights in bad behavior, that was a difficult time. Not to mention the fact that John's older brother, Danny, told Entertainment Weekly in 1993 that when the actor came home with Michelle, that was the happiest that he had ever seen him." But even though John and his ex-wife got divorced in 1988, the affair didn't last long either, and they reportedly broke up not long after. But apparently Malkovich took the breakup very hard and reportedly cried for a whole year. The two of them must have really had something special, because he told The Guardian in 2008, quote, "It's hard to believe Michelle Pfeiffer ever said hello to me." I mean, if you can forget about the fact that he cheated on his wife, it's still romantic the way he talks about Michelle.